Hello, we're back, and I'm here with Judy Kohin, longtime local and executive director of the AHA School for the Arts. Judy, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
So before we get into talking about the AHA specifically and things to do with AHA this summer, I just wanted to ask you to tell us how you got to Telluride, when, and why.
Okay. So I went to school in Maine, and I graduated in 1985, long time ago. And I wanted to see bigger mountains, so I got a job at the Skyline Guest Ranch with
the
Barclay.
Farneys.
Yep, with the Farneys. Barclay Durrani, actually, who was a friend of mine, and she got me a job as her assistant cook. So I drove out here in 1985 and never left.
Oh, wonderful. You know, they were the first people that I asked about a job before
Oh, yeah?
I moved here. Yeah, I had this dream that I wanted to be a wrangler. Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
So you came, and when did you get involved with the AHA?
So in 1991, the school opened, and I had just stopped bike racing at the time. I was sort of between jobs, and I approached Daniel Tucker to see if I could volunteer, do some work study hours for a printmaking class in letterpress printing. And I did that. I took the class, did some volunteer hours, and within a couple of days, Daniel said, "Do you want a job?" And I said, "Well, what kind of a job?" And he said, I need a new director. He had a director that was at AHA just for the summer, and so he had no staff starting that fall. And I said, "I don't have the qualifications to be the director of the AHA school. I don't know anything about running a nonprofit." I was 28, and I said, "But I'll help you until you find the right person." And after a few days on the job, I realized that I could probably do this job, and so I just stayed on the job for many years.
Well, it's been a long and rich history, and there have been times when you've been away and then come
Yeah.
back. I
Yeah.
know, but basically the span of some almost 20 years, right?
Yeah, more than 20 years. 20. Well, it's been 27 years really. But I was gone for a few years in between, and I ran the bookbinding program for a few years as well. But no, I'm back at AHA. I've been back as the director for a little over 5 years, and very excited about where it's going.
Yeah, it's going great places. And one of the things that never ceases to impress me is just the volume of activity at the AHA school. I mean, when you see all the programs, all the different things that are going on pretty much all the time, it always, as I say, impresses me with just the amount of management that's involved in making that all happen.
Yeah, it's true. You're right, Peter. It's mind-boggling. Everything that we're doing. From last night, we had a knife skills class, how to cut onions, which is sort of so different from painting, drawing, ceramics, sculpture, photography, everything else that we do. And we had 60 kids in the building yesterday taking summer camp classes, art classes, and then we had adults doing how to make a silver ring yesterday, and then we had something going on at the bookbinding studio. So we have a lot going on, especially in the summer, but year-round, it's very busy.
It is very busy. And what do you do? Because right now you've got even bigger fish to fry with building a new building, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But what do you do to regenerate, re-energize yourself? What do you do to get away from it, get away from that stress and pressure of all these things happening?
Well, I take a couple trips every year. This spring I went on the Grand Canyon, a 21-day river trip, and I row my own boat, and that is my great escape. But I'm a jock, and so I ride my bike, I go hiking, I've been swimming in the pool, that kind of thing.
Good.
I get outside,
You need
like
it,
most
right?
everybody. This is why I'm here. I'm here in Telluride because of the mountains, and so I feel like I spend all of my free time outside.
So, okay. That leads us to the big hole in the middle of town, the huge hole, and this big project you have of a new building and moving AHA to the center of town. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of that and where you are and what the projected sort of timeline is?
Yeah, so in 2014 we paid off the loan that we had on our current building, the depot, and that took about 7 years from when we bought it in 2007. And then we were getting ready to do a capital campaign to renovate the depot. We had some plans, we had done some cost estimates on how much it would cost. And when we sat down with our board, right before I was ready to submit a grant to the State Historical Society, a new board member said, well, this is so exciting, and I assume that this is going to be our long-term home. We have plenty of space there. And I said, well, actually, we won't have room in the new building for the Telluride Painting School, which is a program that we had started a few years before. And so she said, well, why are we renovating this building if it's not going to be enough space? In my mind, I was thinking, oh, we'll figure that out later. We'll find a new space for the painting school. And at that point, we said, well, you're right. We should maybe look around to see if there's something that would be better suited and just do one construction project. And that led us to meet with the town to find out what kinds of projects they had going on and land that they had available. And we found out about this very interesting project on the corner of Fur and Pacific, where they were developing a affordable housing unit and some underground parking. And they said, my gosh, we never even thought to approach you. They were looking for a community partner in that space. And
Perfect.
they were discussing, having conversations with a lot of other people, but had never approached us. So we quickly said, well, we are interested. And it happened actually rather quickly that we became partners and kind of switched our focus to that building instead of the depot. The big concern was with the depot, moving out of the depot, was to find, the right tenant for the depot as well.
Right.
That's that. It worked out that TSRC, the Telluride Science Research Center, is under contract with us to buy the depot, and so everyone's very relieved. No one wanted to see the depot go to a private home or condos or something like that. So that was really one of the main concerns that pretty much everybody in town had.
So it's a big project, and as I said at the outset, there's a big hole right now in the middle of town. You've just recently surrounded it with some plywood and some wonderful art, which is a big improvement, I think.
Yes.
Any blowback from people about all the construction activity in the middle of town?
I think at the very beginning, people were upset with having to drive around the site, but I would say the majority of the people love it. They love watching the construction. Kids go down there and watch those little trucks. And
those little trucks that aren't so little, but they look little because they're deep down in the hole.
I'm sorry, I said little, but I did. You're right. I'm thinking like little, Tonka trucks down there. When I walk around there and everyone says that they come up to me and they say, oh, I was just at the site, and everyone's talking about how cool it is to be able to watch the construction. It's the biggest construction project in Telluride in a long time or ever. And you can see everything that's happening.
Yeah, it's huge.
So we did put, and the town really encouraged us to decorate the outside of the fence with art. So we've had a lot of different young people and older people making art that goes around the fence.
Perfect AHA project.
Yeah, around the fence. So.
And what's the timeline, Judy? What's the timeline for the construction?
It looks like it should be so the fall of 2019. The building shell will be done in probably most of the apartments. We actually won't be able to get into our section of the building until then, and it'll take us 6 months to finish it out. So we'll be done in spring of 2020 is our hope.
How's your funding doing?
Fundraising is going well. It was a $9 million campaign. We're 80% of the way there. So we're still, as of this date, which is, what's the date today? July 3rd.
Well, that's today when we're taping. That's not the day they're going to be seeing this, but that's okay.
Sorry.
As of the day of this taping, July 3rd, we
have to raise 1.5 million, so we're 80% of the way there.
Piece of cake. And you've got an event coming up that will help, right?
Yeah, I see the light at the end of the tunnel on the fundraising. I feel like once the hole was dug, there's a lot of momentum. And we have a big event, our art auction, which is July 20th. And, yesterday, this is just an example of people wanting to support us. The Ski and Golf Company donated a 1-year platinum membership
to the auction.
To the auction, to be auctioned off. It's valued over $17,000. We're so grateful. Thank you, Telluride Ski and Golf Company. So you'll be able to bid on that. And we have so many other great items. And our paddle raise, which is when anybody can just raise their paddle in support of the school, all of the funds from the paddle raise will be going to the new building.
Perfect.
Yeah, and the theme of the auction this year is Sweet Home AHA, like Sweet Home AHA. And we're celebrating our newly soon-to-be acquired Sweet Home.
It's a lot to celebrate. It's a great thing to celebrate. AHA School for the Arts is a great organization, and any of you who have never been to the art auction, it's not to be missed. So thanks for coming in. Thanks
You
for
bet.
talking to us.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with everything,
Thanks so much.
especially the fundraising, because I know how hard that can be, and you do a great job at it. So
Thanks,
congrats.
Peter. All right.